Hey there, I'm August Bryce with TechWellness.com, and today I want to show you some cell phone EMF protection products, specifically cell phone pouches that are telling us that they protect us from 99% of the radiation coming from our cell phone. And you know, I'm going to talk about one from and it's not that I want to pick tons of different people are making cell phone anti-radiation pouches, and they're basically all the same. They're made of metallic material that's supposed to protect you by deflecting the radiation away from you. And this particular product says that it blocks 99% of the radiation, yet it will not disturb your battery life and you can still use your cell phone. And that's a really good clue that it's not working. And the problem with all of these products that portend to protect you from cell phone radiation is that a lot of people are buying them because, I would too. In fact, I did when they first came out. Because I'm EMF sensitive, I tried everything and I couldn't understand. I didn't even have a meter at the time and I couldn't understand why these products were making me feel worse. Well, it turns out, and there's scientific research that I'll link at the bottom here, that tells us why these protection products may be making things worse. And that's because in order to deflect, often they magnify the radiation. And so you don't want to get yourself into that situation. And I just want to be really clear here. I want to demonstrate this. I haven't done it yet. I've got my meters. I've got a low EMF environment. I've got the phone on airplane. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the phone off airplane, and then I'm going to stick it in the pouch the way that the directions say to do it. And the idea is that this is all lined with this anti-radiation material, which, by the way, I believe works. I believe that there is a metallic fabric that actually can block radiation. The problem is if there's an opening, i.e. your cell phone can work, it's a red flag that it won't work, because in order for there to be a signal to your phone, there will be EMF radiation. And in order for there not to be and be blocked completely, it would be in a Faraday cage, which means it would be sealed. So this opening, let's see if it helps us at all to have the fabric. But my feeling is it probably won't, because also the phone's going to have to work a lot harder and send out more signal because it is partially protected from the EMF or partially shielded. And that often doesn't make your phone very happy. Okay, so it's working harder. So let's watch this. I'm in this low EMF environment, like I said, with my meters. Now I'm going to take this phone off airplane and you're going to see it rock and roll here in a second with the meters. Yep, look, there they go. They're telling us that there's EMF radiation, which travels in waves. They're EMF fields. And they are being registered by these two different meters. This one I love because it's super, super simple, and it goes from low to extreme. And it's really designed to show people who are sensitive to EMF when they really need to take cover or move away from a source. And so this one is really a professional meter designed by the same people, Safe Living Technologies. And what we're going to look here is that peak level. That's the one on the top. And that's the one that most correlates to the way that people who have EMF sensitivity feel, because it comes in peaks, and we're really, even a small peak or a big peak like we just saw there can really disturb us. And we know that there is a biological connection for sure. And there's an effect on us from this EMF radiation, which is why right now I'm going to try this and hope that when I do put it into the pouch, that these levels will go down 99%, or even 50% would be great. So it says to put the screen against the pocket, and then of course this would go on your belt or right into your pocket. And so let's see what's happened. Has this changed at all? Let's give it a moment, because they travel with time. It's not instantaneous. So let's see what happens if we're seeing anything come down. Nope. Okay. And let's get a little bit closer here and then further away and watch that peak level. See if we see any difference there from what it was before. I should have, and I will in a moment, show you the different levels. But okay, so remember, this opening is going to be very close to your body, even if it's in your pocket, right? I mean, look, that's really close to my body. There's maybe a millimeter of space because of the pocket between my body and the opening is where it's all happening. Look at that. It's really getting dramatic. And there is, maybe a little bit of protection right up against your body. But remember, where the shielding material is, remember, this EMF radiation affects us holistically. So we want this radiation to be the way it was when it was on airplane. So if you are carrying your phone, the best idea always is to put it on airplane or get it further away from you. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna pop out of the shot for a second and put this far away so I can show you the difference when your phone is just like 3 feet away, okay? Let's watch what happens. Is that 3 feet there? Okay. Are we settling down? Yes, we are. Isn't that great? So I have these air tube headsets, and when I'm on the phone, I put it 3 feet away, and that's how much radiation I'm exposed to. When I carry my phone, I actually put it in a Faraday bag, and it's sealed completely from the radiation. I'll show you that in a second. But let me go get this again, and I just want you to see. Oh, and look at this. Look at this, what I noticed. Okay, so when the phone is in the shielding pocket, this meter is not happy. Now, why is that? It's that phenomenon that I shared with you before, that the phone is working harder. It's sending out more signal because it understands that there's something blocking the signal. And so it's pushing. And that's what the research says. The research tells us, and I'm gonna link it again below, that shielding material can increase our exposure because of this very fact. It's working harder, and the radiation that's being covered needs to go somewhere. And so often it pools and gets higher. I'd love for you to read the research. I really, really would. So take a look at that link. And now, once again, let's pull the phone off and see just if the shielding material is far away, if this comes down at all. I don't know, it might take a minute. Okay, so now the phone is about a foot away from the meters, and the meter's starting to settle because I really do think the phone was having to work harder for Wi-Fi, for cell phone signal, in order to try to make a connection when it was inside the shielding material. So now it's out, but I want to make a point here, and that is I haven't even tried to make a call. It's going to get a whole lot worse when you engage in a call or when someone calls you. Remember that handshake, right? When the signals connect, that's when you're going to experience the peak energy. So really, folks, I just want to tell you that, oh, I have another thing. This again, not picking on one product, because many people sell bits of material, or in this case, a pretty nice heavy duty shield that goes into your pocket. So the phone goes against the shielding, and let's see, this is my pocket, okay? Anything good happening here? Let's look at the peaks. Okay, we're going from, the lowest I've seen is 1,920, 44,000, look, right here. Oh wait, that's not fair, right? It slipped out the bottom. Let's do it again. Okay, ready? So here we are at the middle of the shielding, and this is a single access meter, so I often like to move it around just to see if it picks up different readings. It's just facing one way. Okay, well, you can see it's bouncing between moderate and high. The peak readings are fluctuating so greatly that, I don't know, I wouldn't feel comfortable with this as my shielding. And when we get to the very top of the shielding, is it getting worse? Still at high, and I saw that, oh no, it did pop up to extreme. So again, it could be because that's where the exposure is, or it could be because the phone's working harder. Okay, so now we're going to do the demonstration very similar to how we see other people do it on videos demonstrating how cases work. So first we're going to look at the ambient measurement. That's right there. This is 323. Now ambient is just the room. Now I always say how I've got my EMF free home. Well, it's not EMF free tonight because we brought home a Wi-Fi so that we could measure the 2.4 gigahertz that's coming from the phone and also from the Wi-Fi. So that's the background of the Wi-Fi. Now I'll reset it and I will turn the phone off airplane and turn the Wi-Fi on the phone. And we're gonna see that come on and look at this. Yeah, rock and roll, right? Okay, and so let's get a video running because that will show when signal's actually happening, right? So we've connected. Let me reset. Let's get right down on the phone. This is how I've always seen it done. Okay, we're watching that peak. This is measuring, by the way, in microwatts per meter squared. And we'll go across the phone, see if that comes up, see if it goes down. Okay, so this is a near field measurement. And sometimes I see people put it right on top of the phone like that. Whoa! Oh my gosh, explosive. Look at that. Okay, so we're going to remember that number, 205,000. That was the near field, okay? Now I'm going to take this phone that's on. I'm going to put it in as instructed with the shielding material this way and the screen up against the shielding material. And we're going to reset this and see what happens. Now I'm expecting, like I saw before, that we're going to see lower measurements right up against the back of the shielding, but as you get closer and closer to the edge, we're gonna see it come up. Okay, and I'll place it on there again. Whoa, see, look, 178,000. We had 257,000. That's because the phone is working hard, I think 310,000, and it's coming just from the top. Now remember, we can watch that peak level come down as we go down the case because it's really nicely shielded down here. But this is the part that I'm worried about so close to your body. Okay, so that's the near field. Now the way the manufacturer says to do it, Rob, talk to him from Safer Living Technologies, is to measure far field. That's how this meter is designed to measure. So the far field is 3 times the wavelength in the 2.4 gigahertz range. And so 3 times is 15 inches. And now I'm going to reset. Let's watch what happens. Gosh, do you think that the video is still running in there? We'll see. So let's take a look at this. Now I'm trying to show you parallel with the middle of the phone case. Now let's go to the edge over here. Let's see what happens. Does it increase at all? It ought to be increasing a little bit. Let me move the meter around so we can detect from probably the way it's coming, which is right from there, and we'll turn it around and we'll stay 15 inches away. And our far field measurement in the case is 4,650. Again, we're looking at the peak level. So let's look what happens when we take it out of the case and we'll reset it. Do you like this little experiment? Oh, it's not an experiment, it's a demonstration because I'm not a scientist. This is just a little demonstration about how it's working today. But I think my point is that you need to stay away from the phone, honestly. Even when it's in a case, you want to be as far away from it as possible. I'm going to do the reset. I'm going to stay 15 inches away. Okay. With the far field, we're up to 4,768. Let's do the same thing that we did before. Let's move it around so we can see the signal coming from
How does that compare
different
to when it was in the
perspectives.
case?
When it was in the case, it was at 4,600 plus. Out of the case, it's at 5,860. Both of those get us into the extreme range. Those little peaks put us way up into the extreme range, so it's not a whole lot different. Again, if you do want to use one of these cases, realize that you're probably better off keeping it still as far away from you as possible. This is the shield that you're supposed to wear in your pocket. I'm sorry, I forgot which way it's supposed to go, but okay, let's reset. Let's get right on top of it. Let's That's good so far. Oh, okay. So that peak, honestly, I think is coming from up. It's coming up from there, but that was not good, that peak. Wow, look at that. So, okay, now I'm going to pull away for the far field measurement. Do that, reset. Okay. These are really sensitive meters. By the way, I love this meter so much. We have it on our website, of course, but this is I think the best consumer meter out there right now. And I am a consumer. I'm not a building biologist, but I recommend that you have one come to your home because they really, really know how to recommend shielding. But this is what's happening up here. I think it was the same as when it was in the pouch, right? Okay, now I'll do this, do the far field without any type of shield at all.
What's the number?
The number is 4,780. That's the number to beat.
And what was it before when it was in the case?
That was it. It hasn't changed. Okay, so we'll get it over here. It wasn't in the case. That was the number when the shield was down. And I can tell you that the number when it was in the case, if you rewind, you'll see it, okay? But thanks for asking. Okay, but I want to show you something. This is, did I reset it? I was supposed to reset it, right? Okay, now the reset out of the case with no shielding. This is hysterical down there. This safe case could save your life, safe sleep. Okay, definitely do not use the phone cases that just cover the front of the cases that you hold up to your ear. Not good. Really, really not good that you're putting yourself so close to the radiation and it really isn't shielding you. So anyway, now we're at a peak of 908. I'll move it around. See what happens. Okay, when I came this way, it moves up to 3,700. Again, really, really close. But I want to show you something, honey. I've always told you about this, but this is really how shielding gets measured in a lab, very similar to this. They put the shielding material, and this shielding material, it really does block 99%. But see how much of the antenna needs to be blocked to really do anything? Look at this. We're at 224. That's over 10 times less than it was with that other shield covering it just a little teeny bit. And this is how shielding works in your home.
Put it down.
So you want to see what happens when I get right up next to it. I don't think anything's going to happen. I think it's going to stay really low because it's so well covered that I imagine it might not even be working underneath. I don't know. Of course, it's got an opening here, but still we've got probably double everywhere of the phone size all around it, around this perimeter. So when you really want to shield something like your home, this is what they do. They come in with a big, huge piece of shielding, and then your bed is in the middle, or the shielding paint is all around you, because partial shielding is super problematic. And still, we're getting into the high range here, and this we know, we've already done the ambient measurement, so that's not it. So a little bit is coming out over here, and watch, I'll show you. I'm sure we're going to see it. Yeah, see? It's coming out this, oh yeah, see? It comes out the side. So even when you're this close, and this is why I don't recommend shielding clothing either, because right on the edge of your clothes, so say that you've got those underwear on, or your breastfeeding blanket, so right on the edge, you're being exposed. So don't think that just because your phone is covered, that on the edges you're protected, because you can see you're not. So that's how shielding works. And I've got great research on the website about the pros and cons of shielding. So there you go. But that was that. And off it comes, and watch. Boom, 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 boom. Ah! Yes, it's not good. Okay, so the phone's been back out of the shielding pouch for a while, and we're waiting for our peaks, and still the max peak was, I think, 150,000, and now it's 71,000, even when I get super, super close. So I think what we demonstrated today, and just in this case, just today that we saw the phone having to work harder and EMF radiation going even higher when the phone was in the shielding pouch. And that corresponds with the research. But you know what really works? The only thing that works, and I talk about it all the time, that's a Faraday bag. And this is my Faraday bag. Love my Faraday bag. We're gonna put it in here and we're gonna show you what happens when it's in a lined case and then sealed and then shut. Let's see what happens. Oh my goodness, look at those peak levels now. But guess what? You can't use the phone. I'm not gonna get any signal. The great thing is I can't even track my GPS. And typically what I advise when you do put your phone in a Faraday, put it on airplane first, because most smartphones aren't very happy when they're having to work so hard in a Faraday bag, and it drains the battery, and then sometimes the functionality is messed with for a while. So put your phone on airplane, then put it in. And people ask me, well, why even put it in a Faraday? Why don't you just put it in airplane? Well, a lot of people think that there might still be slight levels of radiation even in airplane, but I do know for sure that GPS doesn't stop when your phone is in airplane, and that's why I love my Faraday bag, for privacy and to block EMF. So I'm August Bryce with TechWellness.com. Please come visit. We have so much information, so much great science-backed research, and we only offer products that I personally know I would use myself, okay? And I try to give you research that helps validate why some of these EMF protection products, and there are thousands of them. This is a bandwagon that tons of people want to jump on. And honestly, if it worked, I would buy it, I would use it, promise. So I'm not selling any kind of partial shielding pouches because I just don't see them working well enough, okay? So I'm August Bryce, be well.